Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. So I am here today with a really interesting video actually, because we're going to be taking a look at Venus retrograde within the natal birth chart. So this video is specifically directed towards those of you who were born whilst Venus was in retrograde, and I will also be creating a video all about Venus retrograde during a transit. Okay, so if you're watching this before that video is out, then stay tuned, but if it's already there, I'll put a link to it somewhere. Probably just check the description box below and you should be able to get it there. However, before we do get started, make sure that you give this video a like if you like it, and also make sure to subscribe if you have not already, and to click that little bell icon in order to keep yourself updated with further content. So with all those introductions out of the way, Venus retrograde in the natal birth chart individuals, and also for those of you who are just curious about this placement, let's do this. So the first thing to keep in mind when it comes to retrograde planets is that retrogrades represent or signify an inward motion. Therefore, the energy of Venus in this instance is being internalized here. So with that being said, what does this suggest about you if you have this natally? Well, it suggests that you may find it difficult to express or outwardly show love, whilst at the same time feeling deeply about love. You might even feel like you're undeserving of love, or as if nobody could possibly love you or desire you the way that you wish to be loved or desired. So on that note, you might not see yourself as overly desirable or as attractive. Perhaps sometimes you stand in front of the mirror as you do your hair or your makeup, or as you're just simply checking out your outfit for the day, but yet you don't feel fully satisfied with what you see. So in a sense, you might find it difficult to feel beautiful, or you may find it difficult to accept your beauty for what it is. Though the key word here is feel beautiful. It's a feeling, it's something that's internal, remember. Meaning that this is not to say that you're not beautiful or attractive, or that you're not fashionable. It's more that this is something that you hold within yourself towards yourself. So due to these reasons, you might feel deeply insecure about who you are, or you might compare yourself to others, whereby which you start to measure yourself up against other people. And of course this can correlate with certain standards of beauty here. So for an example's sake, you may be the type of person who scrolls through Instagram or TikTok. These social media platforms are pretty popular today. So you'll look through these platforms and you will assess all of these Instagram models that you see, along with all the artists and the dancers that you see, or the popular e-girls and e-boys. And what you may do is you may start to compare yourself against them, or you may seek some sort of validation from them. Or you might be the type of person who is easily deceived by Photoshop, keeping in mind that a lot of these images are photoshopped. But anyway, you may be deceived by Photoshop, resulting in you trying to achieve the unattainable. And you might also possess deep feelings of possible jealousy or envy towards these online creators and influencers, as mentioned, as you kind of think to yourself, if only I look like that, then I'd be admired and I'd be adored by others. Naturally, of course, the same could be said when it comes to television shows or movies that you watch, or even magazines that you read and so on. But essentially, you may struggle to accept your beauty, along with what makes you valuable as a person. And I wonder where these feelings may be stemming from. I mean, is it possible here that you've been humiliated before by others for your appearance or for your style or for your fashion sense? Or is it possible that you've been rejected before by someone who you really, really liked and you had a crush on? This could have been even possibly a friend who you were close with. But either way, you may have faced rejection from a potential love interest or from someone who you thought you were close with. Perhaps you've been laughed at before for how you dressed, or even for how you sound, or quite possibly you've been laughed at for your talents or for your skills. These things have sort of been scrutinized, where you've been told that your singing or your artwork or your dance style, they're not all that good. Though whatever talent you've tried to outwardly share in hopes of collaborating with others, or whatever skill you've tried to refine in order to share those to then also collaborate with others, it seems as if the reaction that you got in return wasn't the reaction that you were looking for, resulting possibly in you then hiding your talents from other people, or seeing your talents and skills as worthless or as not very good. Though another possibility may be that you've experienced a breakup that completely broke your heart, the type of breakup that left you feeling paralyzed, like you couldn't move, resulting in your self-worth just feeling shattered or broken. Who will ever love me again, you might tell yourself, or I'll never find someone else ever. Naturally, this is you talking quite badly about yourself, quite poorly about yourself. And as you continue to put yourself down, you may convince yourself that you will, in fact, not find somebody else ever again. Though to be fair, this heartache doesn't necessarily or solely have to be associated with a romantic relationship that ended, but it could also be associated with the separation of a parent, or the distancing of a friend, or even the death of a pet that you love very, very much. Then again, it could even be due to how your parental figures, they divorced whenever you were really, really young. Though whatever way it played out, you then start to doubt in love. You start to doubt in relationships, and also you start to doubt in yourself. Furthermore, perhaps you're someone who seeks after relationships that are much more meaningful in comparison to the superficial fluff. You want raw and real connections with people who say what they mean and they do what they say. You basically want to feel like you truly matter when you're in a relationship, as if that relationship, it holds a lot of substance. However, this may not be what you end up receiving, because it could be suggested here that you enter into partnerships or unions as a people pleaser, as someone who isn't overly aware of the give and take aspect that's kind of necessary within relationships. Perhaps you start to get involved with partners who take you for granted, or with partners who don't listen to you, who insult you, who just put you down a lot, or who try to dictate to you who you should or shouldn't say, and also what you should or shouldn't wear. See, here's the thing. I mentioned earlier that you may not feel deserving of love. I mentioned that at the very beginning. And I also mentioned that you might not feel beautiful or attractive, suggesting insecurity and also feelings of inadequacy. And it's these very components that can make or create a relationship that involves the likes of lack of trust, paranoia, like who is my partner talking to, as well as inferiority and dumbing yourself down within your relationships, and not to mention the same mentality from you towards yourself may suggest that you find it very difficult to leave abusive or dead relationships. Likewise, you might assume that someone else is out of your league And so instead of initiating a date or a phone number or just anything, you know, to say, I'm interested, you don't do it. You back away, you fear it. And then later on, you feel kind of regretful and kind of annoyed at yourself, which further reinforces more negativity towards yourself. So I think what's important here is for you to start recognizing and accepting who you are and your worth. You know, this is about you learning how to show a little bit more love and kindness towards yourself. Now, I don't mean just physically or externally, where you start buying new clothes and accessories, or where you start treating yourself to new outfits, or where you go to the salon and get your nails done and your hair done, or where you even go and buy a really, really expensive new phone that you've had your eyes on for the longest time because #self-love. Of course, doing all these things is pretty pleasurable and it's comforting and they can make you feel good on the inside for a little while. But what I mean is for you to first start off by assessing how you speak to yourself. So assessing and reflecting upon, you'll notice that with retrograde planets, there's a lot of words, okay? Reflecting upon those times when you talk down to yourself, those times when you feel guilty over a mistake that you made, possibly even years ago, or those times whenever you find yourself unknowingly giving into the models or the beautiful people that you compare yourself up against. Basically, this is about you really honing in on how you feel about yourself, as well as how you value yourself. And so even looking at the valuing of yourself, I think that self-value can come from, just for an example, saying to somebody, hey, I'm not interested anymore. Or saying to somebody, hey, I really like you, I think you're great. Little things like that show that you value yourself enough to either stand up for yourself and protect yourself, or to initiate something that you want or desire. Though another thing that I want to mention here is that when it comes to the material, physical side of Venus, well, it's that you might try to win others over with material items and or your wealth. Now, how you go about doing this is really going to depend upon the sign that Venus retrograde is in, as well as the aspects being made to Venus, and the same goes for the relationships as mentioned. But still, you might use your money and your materials as a way to gain acceptance or approval from others because you're unsure of what you have to offer without these things. So for example, this could be you paying for a friend at lunch, even though your bank balance is really low. Or this could be you buying your other half a luxurious gift, like a really expensive gift, out of fear that your partner will not appreciate something that's much more affordable or much more simple in price. Then again, this could even be where you pay for all of your children's education or schooling fees, if you have children here, whilst keeping it a secret that you simply cannot afford it. So essentially suggesting that you may hide your earning or spending capacity in that regard. Further suggesting that you might struggle, even possibly at some stage, with debt. So essentially, you may keep your finances a secret from those who you think will judge you. So hiding that earning potential, even hiding your income from others as well, out of fear of being humiliated by others whenever you share how much you make. Or it could even be where you don't accept a raise within the particular job you're in because you don't think it's worth it, or maybe you don't really accept that anybody would possibly pay for whatever it is that you're selling in terms of a service that you provide. However, it could quite possibly be that kind of learned these ways of handling and managing money from your financial providers, or perhaps your family growing up was struggling financially in some shape or form. Ultimately, when it comes to the financial and material side of things here, you might keep a lot of things to yourself or feel disheartened by how little you have in comparison to others. And so in this respect, it might be a good idea for you to assess your priorities and come to your senses, so to speak, because this outlook towards your financial landscape can be kind of detrimental. An example of this being that you give to others that simply are not worth it, only for you to end up with less, struggling to make ends meet. Basically, your survival needs, they may be impacted by your desperation for approval and acceptance. Though, to end this video on a much more positive note, I do think that you're someone who you just need a little more time to warm up to people. You need a little bit more time to build trust with others. You may even find that you get married a little bit later on in your life because of these things. And I think that by you reflecting on these concepts or these sort of suggestions really throughout this video today, that maybe you'll start to treat yourself a little bit better, be kinder to yourself hopefully, and also hopefully you start to appreciate your beauty, regardless of the comments that you receive or regardless of the opinions from other people, or how you can constantly seek reassurance from others, constantly just like, tell me that I'm worth it, tell me that I'm good enough, tell me I look pretty, you know, all these different comments to reassure yourself. Hopefully you can learn to actually start to not have to depend on other people to reassure these things for you, but rather you can do that. And you know what? You're probably a very talented and skilled and likable person, someone who has something to offer the world, but it's just that you gotta start to recognize these things about you and how to essentially accept these qualities and these attributes without depending on the outside world to keep reminding you. Now, it might not be easy. In fact, it might be very, very awkward and really uncomfortable and really weird and like, what the hell am I doing? And you also may feel like giving up. But by you putting in the effort, by you really working on these things, hopefully you will start to see a difference. Venus retrograde individuals, you can do this. I believe in you. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the Venus retrograde within the natal birth chart. Now, if you happen to have your Venus retrograde within your birth chart, then let us know what you thought of the video in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and of course, if you have not subscribed already, then make sure that you click that subscribe button and give this video a like. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!